The first time I saw my dead wife's face hanging in the district gallery, someone else's name was printed beneath it. The drawing was 24 inches tall charcoal on heavy paper. A woman looking through a kitchen window, one hand on the curtain, a coffee mug near her elbow. Outside the yard was unfinished, just a few lines and a patch of white where morning light should have been. My son Noah had drawn it from a photograph I took 3 months before his mother died. He had changed the photograph in one important way. In the original, Claire was looking at the camera. In the drawing, she was looking outside. Noah said he wanted her to be looking towards somewhere we could not see. The title card beneath the frame said, "Early Light Avery Collins, Grade 8, Mentor Eleanor Briggs." Noah stood beside me in a borrowed Navy shirt. He did not cry. He read the card twice. Then he asked, did she erase the mark? "What mark?" He moved closer to the frame. A security guard told him not to touch the glass. Noah pointed at the lower right corner. "It is still there. At first I saw only charcoal. Then I saw the smallest break in the shading. A shape like a bent nail. It was the mark Noah put inside every finished drawing. Not his initials. A little bridge support. He had started using it after a science project 2 years earlier when a popsicle stick bridge collapsed, and his mother helped him rebuild it at the kitchen table. The mark was not visible unless you knew where to look. Noah whispered, "That is mine." Avery Collins was across the gallery with her parents and 3 school board members. She wore a red dress and held a certificate. Her art teacher, Mrs. Eleanor Briggs, had one hand on Avery's shoulder. Mrs. Briggs saw us. Her expression did not change. She excused herself from the group and walked over. "Mr. Reed," she said, "I was hoping you would attend." I looked at the drawing. "You told the school Noah copied this." Mrs. Briggs lowered her voice. "This is not the place. You suspended him from the showcase for copying his own work. Noah submitted an image that closely resembled Avery's final portfolio piece. We handled that through the proper process." Noah said I drew it first. Mrs. Briggs turned to him. "Your father and I are speaking." That sentence was familiar. She used it whenever she wanted a child to disappear without leaving the room. I said, "Do not talk to him like that." A few people nearby stopped pretending not to listen. Mrs. Briggs smiled politely. "The district has already reviewed the matter. I suggest you do not make this harder for Noah." Then Avery Collins walked toward us. Her mother called her name. Avery kept coming. She stopped in front of Noah and held out the certificate she had just received. "I am sorry," she said. Noah looked at the paper but did not take it. Avery's hands began to shake. Mrs. Briggs said, "Avery, go back to your parents." Avery looked at the drawing, then at the room full of donors, teachers, and cameras. She tore the certificate in half. "I did not draw that," she said. "My name is Marcus Reed. I was 42 when my son's middle school art teacher accused him of stealing a drawing of his own mother. By then, I had spent 4 years learning how to be the only parent in the house without pretending I knew how. Claire died from ovarian cancer when Noah was 8. The illness lasted 18 months. Long enough for hospitals to become normal. Long enough for bills to arrive after appointments we had already forgotten. Long enough for people to stop asking how we were doing because the honest answer made conversations difficult. I worked as a mechanic for the county transit department, mostly buses. Brakes, doors, electrical faults, wheelchair lifts, heating systems. The work was steady and union. It also started early. My regular shift began at 5:30 in the morning. During Claire's treatment, I used every hour of leave I had. After she died, I owed people favors. Supervisors, co-workers, my sister Dana, who took Noah to school when I could not, my mother, who came over 3 nights a week until her arthritis made the stairs difficult. People called me dependable. What they meant was that I kept showing up. Noah was different. He noticed things. The crack in a cup before it leaked, a loose hinge before the door sagged, the exact shade of blue in the sky before snow. He did not talk easily when adults watched him. His words sometimes stopped at the beginning of a sentence, not a severe stutter, just enough for impatient people to finish for him. Claire never did. She waited. After she died, Noah stopped speaking in class for almost a month. He still drew. At first, he drew hospital rooms, then bus interiors, then hands. Mine holding a wrench, his grandmother's around a coffee cup, Claire's hands from photographs. I did not understand art. I understood that drawing let him finish sentences without someone interrupting. At Jefferson Middle School, Eleanor Briggs had taught art for 23 years. She had awards on the wall, former students at design schools, photographs with mayors, a district grant named after a local gallery. Parents requested her class. The first email she sent me described Noah as technically promising, but emotionally resistant. I did not know what that meant. At the first conference, she explained. Noah has skills, she said, but he rejects instruction when it challenges his preferred narrative. He is 12. That is old enough to accept critique. What critique did he reject? She showed me a charcoal drawing of an empty hospital bed. Across the bottom, in red pencil, she had written, "Overly sentimental. Relies on personal tragedy instead of observation." Oh, I read the note twice. His mother died in that room. Mrs. Briggs folded her hands. I am aware. That is exactly why he needs distance. Noah sat beside me looking at the floor. I asked, "Did you say this to him in front of the class?" I conduct group critiques. Students learn from one another. What did the other students say? Mrs. Briggs glanced at Noah. He left before the critique ended. Noah said, "They laughed. They were uncomfortable," she corrected. I asked for the grade, a C+. The drawing looked like a hospital bed to me. The sheet was pulled back. The wall clock showed 4:17. That was the time Claire died. I said, what would have made it an A? Less dependence on biography. I wanted to argue. Noah touched my sleeve. Not here. That was what the touch meant. In the parking lot, I asked why he did not tell me. You already miss work for me. I miss work because I am your father. He looked out the window. Same thing. That sentence stayed with me. I had spent years telling him he was never a burden. My schedule had told him something else. The second problem came during the fall portfolio unit. Mrs. Briggs required students to produce 5 pieces around one theme. Noah chose windows, not because windows were original, because Claire had spent a lot of time near them when she was sick. The kitchen window, the hospital window, the passenger window of my truck, a bus window with rain. His final piece was the charcoal drawing from the old photograph. He worked on it at school and at our kitchen table. I watched it develop for 3 weeks. He drew the curtain wrong 4 times. He rubbed out the mug. He changed Claire's eyes. He added the bridge mark in the corner. The school used an online classroom system where students uploaded progress photographs every Friday. Noah used an old phone of mine because the camera on his school tablet was cracked. He uploaded 4 images: rough outline, first shading, hands and face, final background. 2 days before the district portfolio deadline, Mrs. Briggs asked him to leave the original in the drying rack, even though charcoal did not need drying. She said she wanted to spray it with fixative. The next Monday, the drawing was gone. Mrs. Briggs said she had returned it. Noah said she had not. She told him to check his locker. He did. Nothing. She told him to check at home. We did. Nothing. Then a week later, Avery Collins presented a portfolio called Thresholds. One piece was a woman at a window, not identical. The curtain was different. The coffee mug had been moved. The face was softer. But the pose, the hand, the angle of the shoulder, and the white space outside the window were the same. Noah told Mrs. Briggs. She asked him to stay after class. The next morning, the principal called me. Noah had been accused of copying another student's district submission. I left work in the middle of a brake inspection. My supervisor, Luis, covered the bay. That was the 3rd time in 2 months he had covered something for me. At school, Principal David Hanley had printed both images. Avery's final drawing, Noah's latest uploaded photograph. Mrs. Briggs sat beside him. Avery and her mother were not present. Mr. Hanley said the resemblance is substantial. Yes, I said, because Noah drew it. Mrs. Briggs said Avery's concept was developed in class over several weeks. So was Noah's. His online uploads appeared after Avery's preliminary sketches. Noah looked up. No, they did not. Mrs. Briggs slid a printout across the table. The system showed that 3 of Noah's 4 uploads had been added on the same Sunday night. The earliest image appeared to be only 6 days old. I knew that was wrong. I had watched him upload them. Mr. Hanley said the timestamps are part of the concern. I asked whether the school could see edit history. Mrs. Briggs said the classroom platform is not designed for forensic disputes. I asked where Noah's original drawing was. She said I returned it. During 7th period. Who saw that? She looked offended. Are you suggesting I stole a child's artwork? I did not answer. Mr. Hanley did. Let us keep this productive. Noah tried to explain the old phone. His words caught. Mrs. Briggs interrupted. Noah, we have already heard your version. I said let him finish. Noah's face went red. He pushed back his chair. Mrs. Briggs said, this is the resistance I mentioned. Noah stood. The chair hit the wall. He said, you always do that. Then he left the office. The school suspended him from the district showcase pending review. Not from school, from the exhibition. The distinction mattered to them. It did not matter to Noah. On the drive home, he said, do not fight them. I am not going to let them call you a thief. They already did. We can prove when you made it. With what? The phone, the files. He looked at me. The phone broke. The old phone had fallen from his backpack 2 weeks earlier. The screen was black. I had placed it in a kitchen drawer, planning to look at it later. Later had become evidence. That night, I connected the phone to my laptop. Nothing happened. I tried 3 cables. Nothing. I watched repair videos until 1 in the morning. The next day, I took it to a small electronics shop. The owner said the charging port was damaged and the storage might still be intact. The estimate was $180. I had $214 until payday after the mortgage utilities and Claire's last hospital payment plan. I paid the deposit. Noah found out. You should not have done that. It is our evidence. It is an old phone. It has your work. He said you always turn everything into a repair. I did not understand. What does that mean? It means you think if you find the broken part, everything goes back. He went upstairs. I stood in the kitchen with the receipt. Claire would have known what he meant. That thought made me angry at her for being dead, then ashamed. The phone was not the only problem. Noah was applying to the county arts magnet for 8th grade. The application required a teacher recommendation and a clean academic integrity record. Mrs. Briggs had already submitted a confidential note about the plagiarism review. The application was placed on hold. Noah stopped drawing at the kitchen table. He put his sketchbooks in the closet. He began saying his stomach hurt on art days. My mother told me to pull him from the class. The school said schedule changes were closed for the semester. Dana suggested private lessons. Private lessons cost money I did not have. At work, Luis called me into the break room. You are at the limit on unplanned leave, he said. I know. The promotion panel meets in 3 weeks. I had applied to become lead mechanic. It came with better hours. 6:30 to 3. More time with Noah. More money. Luis said I can explain emergencies. I cannot explain a pattern forever. I understand. Do you? I looked at the vending machine. No. He sat across from me. My father missed everything. Paid every bill, fixed every car, never came to one meeting. We still talk about him like he was absent. I am trying not to be that. Then stop acting like the only choices are work or war. What is the third choice? Ask for help before you are already gone. I disliked the advice because it was correct. I called Dana. I told her everything. Not the shortened version. The conference. The note. The missing drawing. The timestamps. The magnet application. Dana was quiet. Then she said, "Why did you wait? I thought I could handle it." That is not an answer. It was the same answer I had given Claire for years. I thought handling things alone was a form of protection. Mostly it protected me from being seen failing. Dana worked as a paralegal for a medical practice. She was not a lawyer. She did know how to request records without sounding threatening. She helped me write a formal request for Noah's full classroom platform activity, file version history, login records, teacher edits, assignment rubrics. The plagiarism review policy. The chain of custody for district-submitted artwork. The school responded that some records were maintained by a third-party vendor and could take up to 30 days. The district showcase was in 18. Mrs. Briggs knew the calendar. That was the first time I suspected the timing was intentional. Not just the accusation, the deadline. The repair shop called 2 days later. The phone would power on, but the touch screen was dead. The owner, Sal, connected it to a monitor and showed me the photo folder. There were dozens of images, bus parts, receipts, Noah's shoes, Claire's old recipe card, and 4 photographs of the drawing in progress. The file dates were 3 weeks earlier than the dates shown in the school system. I felt the first clean sense of relief I had experienced since the accusation. Sal said, "These dates help, but they are not impossible to change. Can you certify them? I can document what is on the device. I cannot tell you what happened after the files left it." He made a read-only copy and wrote a short statement describing the repair and extraction. He charged me $140 instead of $180. I asked why. He said, "Your son labeled every version. Kids who fake things do not usually label the bad attempts." That was not expert testimony. It was the first adult outside our family who believed Noah without making him perform pain first. Dana sent the extracted files to the principal. Mr. Hanley replied that the district would review them. Mrs. Briggs emailed separately. She wrote that local device timestamps could not establish original authorship and that artistic ideas often develop collaboratively in classroom settings. The phrase collaboratively developed appeared twice. I read it to Dana. She is changing the issue, Dana said. From copying to collaboration. Yes. Why? Because she knows the files are older. The next morning, Noah found a folded note in his locker. It said, "Stop making Avery feel guilty for being better than you." No signature. The handwriting looked like a student's. Noah threw it away before telling me. He mentioned it only because the school counselor had asked whether anyone was bothering him. I requested that the school preserve hallway camera footage. The locker area camera did not show who placed the note because the view was blocked by an open door. Mrs. Briggs told the counselor the conflict was becoming socially contagious. I asked what that meant. The counselor, Ms. Velez, said, "It means adults are using phrases instead of solving it." She was the first school employee who sounded tired of the language, too. Ms. Velez could not discuss another student. She could tell me Noah was not the only child experiencing anxiety around the showcase. That sentence was carefully limited. It was also a direction. I asked Noah about Avery. He said she used to be kind. They sat at the same table in 6th grade. Avery drew animals and hated charcoal because it made her hands dirty. During the fall portfolio unit, Mrs. Briggs moved Avery to a table near her desk. She began keeping Avery after class. Noah said everyone thinks she is the favorite. Is she? I think she is scared all the time. That answer did not fit the villain I had built for her. I wanted Avery to be a rich child who knew exactly what she had taken. It would have made the anger easier. Instead, Noah remembered her tapping her pencil until the eraser broke. He remembered Mrs. Briggs correcting her in a whisper. He remembered Avery crying in the supply closet after receiving an A-. The next complication came from the magnet school. An admissions coordinator called and said Noah's application would be closed unless the integrity review was resolved before Friday. I asked for an extension. She said extensions were not available because portfolio interviews had already been scheduled. I asked whether a pending accusation counted as a finding. She hesitated. Then she said, "The recommendation from his current instructor raised broader concerns about maturity." What concerns? I cannot release a confidential recommendation. Can Noah withdraw it? He can submit another recommendation if the school allows one. Mrs. Briggs was the only full-time art teacher at Jefferson. The school had created a system where the person accusing Noah also controlled his exit. Dana wanted to send a legal demand. I wanted to go to the school and refused to leave. Noah said I do not want to go there anymore. I thought he meant Jefferson. He meant the magnet school. You have wanted it since 6th grade. I wanted to learn art. That is what it is for. It is also people deciding if I am the right kind of sad. I did not have an answer. The promotion interview was the same Friday. I sat in the transit office wearing the only tie I owned. The panel asked how I handled conflict. I almost laughed. I gave the expected answer about clear communication documentation and shared goals. Then the operations director asked how I would improve attendance in the maintenance division. I knew my own attendance report was in the folder. I said by treating family emergencies as predictable parts of a workforce, not personal defects, that surprise management every time. One panel member looked down. Luis looked at me from the end of the table. I continued. We still need coverage. We still need accountability. But if the only people who can advance are the ones with nobody depending on them, then we are selecting for availability, not leadership. It was not the safest answer. It was the first one that felt like mine. After the interview, Luis said, "You know, they asked about scheduling, not your life." My life is scheduling." He smiled. "That may have cost you." I know. I did not know whether I regretted it. That evening, a woman named Rebecca Park called my house. She taught art at the high school and helped coordinate the district showcase. She said she was calling about a consent form. What consent form? The one permitting the district to display and reproduce Noah's work. We never signed one. Silence. Rebecca asked me to confirm Noah's full name and grade. Then she said she needed to speak with her supervisor. I asked why his work would require a consent form if the district believed it belonged to Avery. She did not answer directly. She said, "A piece entered under Avery Collins contains a scanned source file labeled nread_window_final." I sat down. "Where did that file come from?" "It was in the teacher submission folder." "Can you send it to me?" "Not without authorization." "Can you preserve it?" "Yes, please do." Rebecca lowered her voice. "Mr. Reed, do not contact Avery." "Why would I?" "Because she is a child in the middle of an adult problem. So is my son." "I know." The next day, Principal Hanley asked me to meet after school. Mrs. Briggs was not invited. Dana came with me. Mr. Hanley had the look of a man who had started reading emails he previously delegated. He said the district submission package contained inconsistencies. A source scan carried Noah's file name. A consent form listed Avery as the artist, but included my outdated email address in the parent contact field. The signature line contained a typed name, not a signature. My name, Marcus Reed. I had not completed the form. Dana asked who uploaded it. Mr. Hanley said the teacher account assigned to Mrs. Briggs. He added quickly that account access did not establish who physically used the computer. "Is that how you handled Noah's account?" I asked. His face changed. Dana put one hand on my arm. "Mr. Hanley said we are opening a formal district review. When it has begun, the showcase is in 9 days. We may need to let the process continue while facts are confirmed." "You mean let Avery accept an award for my son's drawing? We have not determined ownership. You just found his file name and a consent form I did not sign. The district grant is tied to the exhibition schedule. Canceling the program would affect more than one student." So there it was. Not a conspiracy. An institution protecting a deadline because the deadline had money attached. Jefferson's visual arts program received $42,000 a year from the Gardner Foundation. The grant paid for kiln repairs, field trips visiting artists, and Rebecca's part-time coordination work. The renewal presentation occurred at the showcase. Mrs. Briggs's students had produced 3 of the 5 district finalists. If the district withdrew the work publicly, the grant review could be delayed. Mr. Hanley said, "I am not asking you to stay silent indefinitely." "How long?" "Until the investigation is complete. After the awards." "Possibly." Dana asked whether Noah's plagiarism finding would be removed immediately. Mr. Hanley said it was not technically a finding. It was a pending review. The magnet deadline had already passed. Noah's opportunity was gone while adults debated vocabulary. I said no. Mr. Hanley looked at me. "No to what?" "Noah will not carry a theft accusation so the district can protect a presentation." Dana requested the proposal in writing. Mr. Hanley refused to characterize it as a proposal. We left without an agreement. In the parking lot, Dana said, "Do not post anything tonight." I was not going to. You are holding your phone like a weapon. She was right. I had opened the parent Facebook group. I wanted to upload the file name, the form, the missing drawing, and every red comment Mrs. Briggs had written. I wanted the town to be angry before the school could become careful. Noah called while we were still in the car. Ms. Velez had let him use the counseling office phone. He said Avery had tried to speak to him after class. Mrs. Briggs stopped her. Then Avery slipped a piece of paper into Noah's backpack. It contained an email address. No name, no message. Dana said again, "Do not contact her." Noah said, "I already did." "What did you send?" "A picture of the bridge mark." I closed my eyes. "What else?" "I said I know she did not draw Mom's hand." "Why that?" "Because she draws fingers like sticks." Dana covered her mouth, trying not to laugh. "I did not." "Did she answer?" "Yes." "What did she say?" Noah read it. "Mrs. Briggs said you quit the portfolio and gave her permission to use your study. She said I had to redraw it for the grant. I did not know it was your mom." The next message arrived while he was reading. "I still have the tracing paper she made me use." That was the first moment I understood Mrs. Briggs's method. She had not simply put Avery's name on Noah's original. She had scanned Noah's drawing, printed an enlarged outline, and told Avery to create a revised version. Then, for the district's submission, she sent both the revised version and Noah's original scan as process material. The original physical drawing was probably still somewhere in her control. Avery had participated. She had also been lied to. The difference mattered. Noah asked, "Can I tell her to bring the tracing paper?" Dana said no more messages until her parent is involved. Noah said her mother thinks she drew it. Then her mother needs to know. Avery solved that problem herself. She forwarded the conversation to her father. Jonathan Collins called me at 9:14 that night. He was a real estate developer and a member of the Foundation Advisory Committee. I expected a threat. He said, "My daughter says your son created the piece." "Yes." "Do you have proof?" "Yes." "So does she." He sounded tired, not angry. "Oh." His wife, Melissa, came onto the call. She asked whether Noah had accused Avery publicly. "No." "Has he told other students?" "I do not know." Melissa said Avery has worked for years for this. I said, "So has Noah." Jonathan interrupted before the call became a contest between children. He asked to meet with the principal the next morning. Dana attended with me. Avery came with both parents. She carried a flat portfolio case. Inside were 3 sheets of tracing paper. The first was Noah's composition. The second changed the curtain. The third softened Claire's face and moved the mug. Mrs. Briggs had written notes in blue pencil. "Keep the emotional center. Make it less personal. Clean her hand. Use Avery's line quality." Avery also brought a photograph from the art room. It showed Mrs. Briggs's desk. Behind a stack of mat board was the corner of Noah's original drawing. The bridge mark was visible. Avery said she took the photograph because she thought the drawing had been abandoned and wanted to remember the original arrangement. Mrs. Briggs had told her Noah could not complete the portfolio because his father had complained about emotional content. Oh, Avery believed she was rescuing a discarded concept. Then Mrs. Briggs told her not to discuss the source because judges preferred independent development. Melissa asked her daughter, "Why did you not tell us?" Avery stared at the table. "Because every time I said I did not want to use it, you told me Mrs. Briggs knew what scholarships needed." Melissa began to speak. Jonathan said let her finish. Avery said she had not wanted to enter the district showcase at all. She wanted to draw animals. Mrs. Briggs said animal portfolios looked childish. Her mother said competitive programs needed serious work. Her father paid for summer classes she hated because everyone agreed talent required discipline. Avery looked at Noah. "I am sorry." Noah did not say it was okay. He said, "Did you erase the mark?" "No." Mrs. Briggs was placed on paid administrative leave that afternoon. The school recovered Noah's original drawing from a locked flat file cabinet in the art room. It had been mounted and framed for the district gallery. The label had already been printed with Avery's name. Principal Hanley canceled Noah's plagiarism review and sent a correction to the magnet school. The magnet school replied that interviews were full. They would place him on a wait list. That was the apology life offered most often. You were right. The deadline remains. The district asked both families to sign a confidentiality agreement while the review continued. Jonathan Collins wanted his attorney to read it. Dana wanted to throw it away. I wanted to know what Noah wanted. That question should have come first more often than it did. We sat at the kitchen table with the recovered drawing laid flat between two pieces of clean cardboard. Noah had not looked at it since the school returned it. He said the face seemed wrong now. It is the same drawing, I said. No, now I can see what they did to it. What did they do? They made Mom evidence. I put the agreement aside. What do you want to happen? I want my name on it. That is reasonable. I do not want everyone talking about Mom. We can ask them not to. They will anyway. He was right. The district showcase had already printed programs. Parents had heard pieces of the story. Someone had posted online that a finalist was under investigation for plagiarism. No names were used. Everyone who cared already knew. Noah said, I want Avery to tell them. Tell who? The judges. That is not your decision. I know. He rubbed one corner of the cardboard. But if adults tell it, they will say we were both confused. That was exactly what the draft district statement said. A misunderstanding occurred during collaborative classroom development. The statement did not say Noah's drawing disappeared. It did not say his uploads were altered. It did not say my name was typed onto a consent form I had never seen. It did not say Avery was told the work had been abandoned. It distributed responsibility so evenly that nobody appeared to have done anything. The next district meeting included Rebecca Park, the technology administrator, Principal Hanley, the superintendent, both families, and lawyers. The platform vendor had provided audit logs. Noah's 4 original uploads had been present on time. 3 were deleted from the classroom view using Mrs. Briggs's teacher credentials. Copies were downloaded first. 6 days later, the files were uploaded again under Noah's account through a teacher impersonation function used for correcting student submissions. That created the later timestamps. Mrs. Briggs had not hacked anything. She had used a normal administrative feature for an abnormal purpose. The logs also showed she accessed Avery's portfolio folder the same evenings. The superintendent said, this substantially resolves the authorship question. I asked why the exhibit label still listed Avery. The foundation's lawyer answered. The judging package had closed. Changing the finalist record before the internal review concluded could invalidate the entire competition. Jonathan said then invalidate it. The lawyer said 43 students had work in the program. Canceling the event could affect scholarships and the district grant. Melissa Collins asked whether Avery could withdraw. The lawyer said yes, but the display might remain as documentation until the review finished. I said documentation with the wrong child's name. They proposed a temporary card. Authorship under review. Noah laughed when I told him. Not because it was funny, because he had run out of respectful reactions. Rebecca Park had reviewed older submission folders. She found 4 other cases in 6 years where process files came from one student and final work was credited to another. None was as direct as Noah's. In 2 cases, students had genuinely collaborated, but consent records were incomplete. In another, Mrs. Briggs combined elements from 2 students' projects and entered the stronger student under a new title. The 4th involved a former student named Kayla Monroe. Kayla had created a series of self-portraits about living in foster care. Mrs. Briggs told her the work was too private for competition. The following year, similar compositions appeared in a district teaching presentation as examples of guided narrative reframing. Kayla's name was absent. Kayla was 19 now and working at a grocery store. The district contacted her. She said she did not want money or a public event. She wanted her portfolio returned. The school could not find it. Mrs. Briggs requested a private meeting with me. Her union representative would attend. Dana said I did not owe her a meeting. Noah said I want to know why she hated it. The drawing, me, so we agreed. Mrs. Briggs looked smaller without her classroom. No scarves, no red pencil. No wall of awards behind her. She said she had not hated Noah. She said he was one of the most naturally observant students she had taught. Noah asked, "Then why did you keep giving me C's?" "Because skill is not the same as growth. You wrote that my mom was sentimental. I wrote that